Welcome to episode 549 of the Grit to Greatness Endurance Podcast. We're your hosts, coaches Rich Soares and Lauren Brown, and we are on a mission to help endurance athletes just like you train smarter, race stronger, and build the grit it takes to build greatness.
Yes, and race day should be the celebration of all your hard work. But for many athletes, simple and avoidable mistakes end up costing not just minutes, but sometimes even hours. So in this episode, Coach Rich and I are going to break down the most common race day errors that derail performance. So from pacing disasters to fueling fails, we've all been there, and we're going to give you a practical framework to protect your PR, execute with confidence, and schedule the finish. If you've ever walked instead of run, bonked hard, or if you've ever finished knowing that you had more in the tank, this episode is for you.
Absolutely. And my goodness, yeah, we've all learned these lessons, and we are going to try to help you not learn it firsthand. So here we go. And before we actually get into the main thing, like we want to really take a time out. This is something we do every week now. We want to celebrate our amazing Grit to Greatness community and what they are getting after this weekend. We've got Marcy D doing the Leadville Silver Rush 50-mile ultra marathon. We got Mike Murphy. I was just checking in on him doing the Festival of Speed track race in Pennsylvania. Guy's amazing. And we've got Paul Hunziker doing the Late Whatcom sprint in Bellingham, Washington. Guy's recovering from a back injury, and he's crushing it. Everything's coming together. And we've got Coach KO and Lindsay Holmes and Ann Manning doing the Litchfield Hills Olympic this Sunday. So, Coach,
Lots going on. We got even more.
Yeah.
We got Cheryl Tracy. She's doing Ironman 70.3 Muscleman Geneva. That's on the 12th. We've got Alice Kosterich doing the Tri-Boulder Sprint on the 17th, so pushing into next weekend. As well on the 17th, Greg Castro is doing the Olympic, the Tri-Boulder Olympic. And then Chris Chaudhun and Kevin Cole are doing Ironman Oregon 70.3 on the 18th. Lastly, we've got Denise Hiller doing the Vermont 100K Windsor race on the 18th. And I do have to say, we have a team WhatsApp chat. So if you are one of our athletes listening to this and you're not in the WhatsApp chat, you better get in there. Let us know, because it is so freaking fun hearing everyone celebrate the races they've got going on this weekend, or even just the training. So I love it.
It's blowing up.
Yep. And then one more special shout out we have to give is a belated birthday to Lucy Zate. She turned 21 on July 1st. So yeah, and it was really fun because we were all together in Lake Placid 4th of July weekend to do our race rehearsal. She was there. She's going to be doing Lake Placid with me as well. And we got to celebrate her 21st birthday. She drank some non-alcoholic beer.
Good for her. Well, yeah, I mean, you turn 21. That's usually what you go to, right? We got to go celebrate and go drinking, not if you're an athlete, right?
Yeah, with an Ironman. It's her first so yeah.
Well, that's her celebration. That's a much better celebration, right? Speaking of celebrating, listen, we love celebrating you guys. So, our athletes, we're sharing your journey, share your results with us. We can't, get your pictures, send them in. We can't wait to share your journey with our Grit to Greatness community and everybody who's watching what's happening. And if you're one of those that's watching what's happening here, and you don't need to be coached to be a part of this community. Not all of the athletes that are a part of our team are being actively coached. Some are just using our training plan. If you're looking for support, inspiration, and a group of athletes who truly understand what it takes to balance life, work, endurance, sport, we would love to meet you. Come to our page, read what our athletes say about our culture and about our team and about the experience that they have with us. There's a link right here in the show notes. Find your grit and explore the G2G community for yourself.
Yes, the more the merrier in our community. So, ask a coach. So today's topic that we're going to be diving into is race day mistakes that cost you hours. So you've done the training, you've put in the work. So why do races sometimes just fall apart? The truth is, most race day struggles, they're not about fitness. It's actually about execution. And our goal today, like we said earlier, is to fix that. The key takeaways that you can expect to get from today's conversation: execution beats fitness on race day. Discipline early prevents collapse later on. The next is that most mistakes are predictable and preventable. And lastly, a strong finish is always planned, it's never accidental.
Love that. Yeah. Well, let's dive in. We've got 10 race day mistakes that are pretty common out there, and we're going to talk you through how to fix them. So, I'm going to lead us off here with number one in the list of 10 is, man, you're just starting too fast. Listen, adrenaline will lie to you, right? You get all caught up and you feel like, you feel great at the beginning of the race. So why not, start strong? Your pacing plan is going to tell the truth when adrenaline is lying to you. So, I'll tell you a quick story. My very first triathlon, sprint distance, pool triathlon, and I was actually using a road bike for the very first time. I mean, first time in a race. And, I wasn't a great swimmer. So I'd already spiked my heart rate really high in this sprint pool swim. But then I got on that bike and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a bike race. And I was racing it like it was a bike race. Now, keep in mind, I was up to like mile 16 training for a marathon. I thought a 5K run, piece of cake. I got off that bike. I could not, I mean, I ran the first mile. I was walking the last two.
Wow.
A sprint distance that cost me like way more than it needed to. If I had just slowed down a little bit earlier on, I
Yeah.
would have been in control and I could have competed late.
Yep. You burnt all those matches on that bike.
Young and dumb.
Yep. But that leads into not just starting, right? So it's, we can go out really fast, but then mistake number two is that you're actually not just going out fast, but you're also ignoring your pacing plan, right? So you want to trust the work you did before race day and really try to resist emotion overriding your strategy. So, you think about it, your adrenaline is pumping, you're starting the race, you might go out fast, but sometimes, like you're still feeling pretty strong. And maybe especially if you're doing maybe a 70.3 or a full distance, and you know that your pace should be XYZ on the run, but you're thinking, I know, but I feel good. I want to go fast now. And you're not thinking about how long the day actually is. And you really need to trust and believe that the reason you have a pace plan is because that pace is what's going to get you through the entire race. A race is not just what you're feeling in that moment. Your emotions are what you're feeling in that moment. And you need to be able to be have that, high EQ, we'll say here a little bit on race day, and be mindful that you have a plan, you got to stick to it, because it's better to finish strong than finish with like barely pulling yourself through that finish line.
Love that. And think about know what your triggers are, for what might make you go too fast. The crowd, right? Coming through transition. Sometimes it's like, boy, you get so caught up because there's people cheering for you and you're like, or you're coming through a section with a bunch of crowd.
Yeah. You know what always gets me?
Check it.
The slap here for a power up. I always hit those and I like it's
Jet.
so mental, but I'm like, whoo, I feel good. I think I almost like hurt a child by accident once, hitting that so hard. I hit it so hard. I looked back, oh my God, I'm sorry if I knocked your kid over.
So we know Lauren's trigger here, right? So you see the power up. What's Lauren going to do from now on? She's going to go look at the pace on her watch.
Yeah. I'm going to say, that
Power
didn't
up. And she's
actually,
going to walk.
like, you didn't actually get more power from that sign. Calm down. But I feel it. I don't know.
Well, that's a pacing, as we've already described, too, going out too fast, not controlling your pace as you go, and poor fuel timing. Now, this is going to be most important on longer races where, you know, nutrition has a bigger role in longer races. The longer you're going, the more you are going to burn the fuel that you have, and you risk bonking. But it is really wise to be fueling right from the start at any distance. Listen, at any distance, if you're fueling right from the start, you're helping your body not get into distress. Even, we say at shorter distances, a 13-mile bike ride and a 5K run, if you are not fueling before that, during that, and immediately after, you're putting your body in a stressful situation it doesn't need to be in. Now, where is it going to really cost you hours? It's going to really cost you hours probably on those longer efforts where you're more likely to bonk. And so if you are waiting until you're 45 minutes into the bike before you start fueling, you're making a big mistake, right? The moment you hit that bike, you should be eating.
Yeah. It's like if you're even feeling remotely hungry, you're definitely behind the mark.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like don't wait
And
for
if you
that.
need to, schedule it. Have an alarm on your bike
Yeah, absolutely.
or on your watch.
Yep. So super important. I would say you can't out train a bad diet. You can't outrace a poor fueling strategy.
Right.
That'll be the new thing.
You
Yep.
can't run an Olympic fast enough or a half Ironman fast enough.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So number 4, overreacting mid race. So one bad mile doesn't define your race. Again, like going into the whole emotional side of things, there's a lot of emotions that can come up on race day, and because especially again, this is looking at I'm going to say more longer distance, but just because you're having maybe a 30-minute stretch on the bike or a 1 mile stretch on the run that isn't feeling so hot, that doesn't mean that the whole entire race is going to be downhill. You have to, I mean, be smart, don't be emotional, be level headed, and recheck your recheck your fueling strategy, revisit your hydration, because things can shift back, right? So you could be just having a tough stretch after maybe a hard climb, or maybe you were, you know, trying to catch somebody ahead of you, right? So there's different things that can maybe make it feel like a bad mile, but stay steady. Don't chase perfection. Yes, in the ideal world, maybe you have a negative split, maybe you're staying consistent across the board on your paces, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be steady and stay calm through the race, right? It can always shift.
That's sage advice. And my motto is always slow down for yellow lights. If things seem off, if you feel like maybe, oh, geez, boy, I'm just not feeling right for whatever reason. Maybe I feel like I'm overdoing it. Maybe I feel like settle in. Just deep breathe. Just take some deep breaths as you're going along here. Maybe back off just a touch, and just start to take a 5 minute, assessment of how things are going. Wind the watch, as they say, just to slow things down a little bit and think so that you can make a good decision. You can start to take the time to look at, okay, what is my heart rate relative to my power, or heart rate relative to my pace?
Yeah.
Start to do a little bit of troubleshooting, or, and maybe it turns out in the time that you're doing that analysis, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, I feel fine. Heart rate and pace are just fine. I was just foggy headed there for a second. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Great.
There was
Hitting the
oh, sorry.
just saying hitting the panic button just sends your adrenaline through the
Yeah.
roof, and that's going to help. That's going to make things worse, make you burn through your glycogen even faster.
Yeah. When we were in Lake Placid doing the race rehearsal, Lindsay is one of Coach KO's athletes who's done Lake Placid multiple times, and she's done a lot of full distance and half distance. And she was saying, because we were talking through the run course, and she was trying to give me pointers and things because she's done it before. And she was saying, she's like, on the run, she's like, the one thing I always remind myself is like, slow down. a lot until you're at like mile like 18, 20, like, you know, you're probably better off just like if you're feeling good, don't go faster. If you're not feeling good, just slow down, right? Like you've got a long day ahead of you. Things can shift in either direction, but it's better to see how you feel at mile 18 or mile 20 before you decide to start really shifting into that high gear and pushing things harder.
Yeah, and that's a great go back to tip number two and mistake number two, ignoring your pacing plan.
Hmm.
Having that pacing plan and making sure that pacing plan makes sense, as you said, right? You're not the pacing plan isn't like maybe the pacing plan probably is not the same pace all the way through.
Right.
It is probably starting the first, and this is what Mark Allen likes to say, or coach is do the first third. The first third should be your easiest third. The second third, you're building up from there. And then the last third is kind of where you're finally building, and racing at, but
Hmm.
you build into it.
Hmm.
All right. No practice execution. Man, what do we have? We have race rehearsals in our plans, right? We have race rehearsals, not just a long training day. We are calling this a race rehearsal. It is, you're practicing everything that you're going to be using. I even tell my athletes, practice getting up when you're going to get up.
Hmm.
Practice having like packing your bag the night before, or exactly how you're going to handle like your logistics.
Yeah.
Same thing with your nutrition. Practice what you're going to eat, the timing when you're going to eat it. You know, yeah, race day is going to start at 7 a.m. You're going to probably try, if you're trying to get out early for your training, you're probably trying to get out early anyway.
Yeah.
Get used to the timing, get used to knowing how long it takes to pack up those final things, eat that breakfast, right? All of those things become, part of your routine. And then on, as far as the practice, the race rehearsal itself, when you're actually executing it, you are trying to do it in the gear, with the gear, in the kit, on the bike, everything exactly how it's going to happen on race day, including practicing the nutrition, on the timing, at the intensity. Everything is, been rehearsed a number of times before you show up on race day.
Yeah. I may have shared this before, but this was definitely my first year racing triathlon, and it was a sprint, so it wasn't a long swim, but I had never practiced without my wetsuit on in the open water. And I got down to the water and I was looking around and it looked like nobody had on wetsuits. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to be the only one with a wetsuit on. I feel silly. So I went back, took my wetsuit off, and then I came back and it was like everyone had their wetsuits back on. And I was like, it was too late for me to go get my wetsuit back on. I panicked so hard in the open water, and it was wetsuit legal. I should have just worn my wetsuit regardless of what everyone else was doing. I was like back floating.
Oh
I All of a sudden I was like,
no.
my legs are sinking. I can't get my legs to stay up high on the water. Almost wanted to be like, help me, someone come get me. I didn't, but it was a short swim, but I panicked because all of a sudden I was like, I don't know how to swim without my wetsuit. Even though I swam in the pool a bunch of times, not the same in the open water. So.
And let's kind of go. I love this, right? Because this is a little bit of a go back again to the starting too fast. This applies in the swim as well.
Yeah.
And like you just said, right? You go out there in that open water and you go too hard. And this is a public service announcement. I actually did my typical, I like to start out hard. It just so happens that I am actually now taking a prescription that actually caused a little bit of a CO2 crisis for me in my last swim. So I got into a place where I was hyperventilating. This is a place where you could actually end your swim, not only make it take hours longer than you planned, you can
Hmm.
actually end your whole race because you went out so hard.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're executing as you have rehearsed, and that you're not doing anything new
Yeah.
on race day.
All right. So next mistake is inefficient transitions. So transitions are so easy for people to overlook practicing, but when you're looking for free speed, transitions can be your place to get some free speed. And you want to practice it enough so that when you're coming out of the water or coming off the bike and coming into transition, it feels smooth. It doesn't feel rushed, right? Like, even this came up on one of our team calls. Coach April gave this advice to one of our athletes, to Veron, where it was like, even thinking about the mindset of practicing coming out of the when you're coming out of the water, going through in your mind how things are laid out. So even getting in the habit of, if you're practicing your transitions and pretending you're coming out of the water, start visualizing as you come out of the water, how are things laid out by my transition area? Where's my helmet? Where's my shoes? Where's my sunglasses? And having everything in order, so that way you practice it. We actually, for the Jersey Shore Tri Club, we just had a transition clinic this past week, actually, and everyone brought their towels, brought their helmets, their bikes, and it was being able to go through the process of, how are you laying it out? Are you putting your helmet on your bike? Are you putting your helmet on the ground? Where does it feel more natural for you? Do you like to, make sure you put your sunglasses on first, then put your helmet on, then put your socks on, then put your shoes on, right? So it's like, you just do it over and over again, and then just go loop around the block. Come back, take your shoes off, put your run gear on, because we take it for granted that it's like, oh, it's just a transition. But when you come out of the water and you're like dizzy from swimming and you haven't practiced it, all of a sudden you're like fumbling to try to remember how to put a shoe on, right?
Right. Yes, exactly.
So if you always do it the same, like, I know I always set up my transition the same way. So I just, by default, I'm very used to just grabbing my helmet. So you want to practice it and treat it just as important as, you treat your nutrition. I would say, when people are like, oh, what's the different disciplines of triathlon? We're like, swim, bike, run. And then everyone's like, the fourth discipline is nutrition, or the fourth discipline is, strength training, or the fourth discipline is mobility. Also, the fourth discipline is your transitions. So practice it, practice it, practice it.
I've seen people advance 2 or 3 places on the podium or in results
Hmm.
because they had a faster transition than the people around them, you know?
Yeah,
I
some
mean,
people,
imagine that.
you look at them and you're like, are you like making a sandwich in transition? Are you doing like wardrobe change, getting your hair done?
Yeah, and and simplicity is the key, right? The fewer things that you have in transition, the fewer things you need to be looking at, the fewer, the simpler and the more straightforward the process, you can make it, the better. And I'll tell you, here's another thing that I think could actually cost you, maybe not cost you, could cost you the race if you're not careful in transition. Not buckling your helmet
Hmm.
could get you DQ'd, especially in a USAT sanctioned national championship or anything that is, world triathlon for sure.
Hmm.
Um, Running with your bike holding the saddle. It is a really tempting thing to do. It looks really cool, right? Here you are, you got your hand on the saddle and you're steering your bike through transition. When I went through my certification program at the Olympic Training Center, Ken Axford, who's one of the development coaches for the US national team, he showed us video after video after video of world triathlon, like pro triathletes
Hmm.
doing that, reel after reel after reel of the tire catching the carpet, and or they just they look, they lost focus and the tire
Hmm.
turned, they go tipping over, and now 2 or 3 people that were right behind him are all like, there's a big pile up in the middle of the blue carpet.
Yep. It's crazy.
Imagine now you do that and maybe you cut your leg with the chain ring, or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
any goofy thing could happen. So
Hmm.
all right, hydration mistakes is number 7 on our list of big mistakes. Is hydration mistakes. Again, you know, this is one of those things that's going to affect you at any distance, more than likely more so on hot races, more so on longer races. You really want to stay on top of this, and it all is so preventable. With a little bit of preparation, a little bit of assessment and testing, you can learn what your own sweat rate is. Real simple. Before a 1 hour workout, take everything off. Weigh yourself on a digital scale. Put everything back on. Do your 1 hour workout. Take everything back off. Dry yourself off. Weigh yourself again. That difference in weight, use a tenth of a pound to convert yourself into ounces. Consider how many ounces you drank during that period. Do the math on that. And by the divide by the number of minutes of your race. We can actually put the formula in here too, by the way,
Yeah.
maybe as a download.
Mhm.
If folks want to come to our website and download that, we'll make that a download. But yeah, so knowing how much you sweat, so you can make sure that you're keeping up with your hydration needs, and test it at different intensities on the bike and the run and at different temperatures. Have a have a spreadsheet with a portfolio of, okay, I'm gonna be on the bike. It's going to be 70 degrees. I'm going to filter from all my bike activities at around 70 degrees, and you'll see a clumping of what your sweat rate is at that intensity, at that on that activity.
And something that's not even as technical as your like knowing your sweat rate. Just a little quick story again from the Lake Placid race rehearsal that we had. So Lucy, who had her birthday, on the bike, she had her bottles with electrolytes and carbs and no regular water, and she did not feel well on the bike ride, so she made it through the first loop and had to take a little bit of a break. And Coach KO got her water. Coach KO came on the course and brought all of us fresh bottles of water, which was like a godsend. I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
I didn't realize how thirsty I was. It was one of those moments where you drink the water where you like can't stop yourself from drinking it because you're so thirsty. But it was like a godsend to be able to have this fresh, plain water. And thank goodness we did that race rehearsal, because for Lucy now, going into Lake Placid, is very aware that she needs to make sure she has, yes, of course, her electrolytes and her carb fuel in her water, but she needs to also have a bottle of plain water also. So
Yeah,
good, good lesson to learn on your race rehearsal and not race day.
exactly. Yeah, and yeah, and hydration and nutrition both kind of deal with those separately, right? Because not the pairing of all, like, carbohydrate and sodium products might not be the right ratio for you or for your distance of race, right? So trying to solve those two things separately is usually advisable.
Yes. So, all right, next one. This is a big one, and I know Coach K will say this a lot of times, that it's like the space above your neck or the space between your ears that is going to play a huge role in how you do, especially the longer the races get, right? So, negative self talk can be extremely detrimental to your race performance. So, your thoughts drive your performance. So, thinking about, if you could have cues or mantras that help you stay focused. So this is another thing that has come up a lot with swimming. This isn't negative self talk, but this is going to be my little tip to anyone who is thinking of ways to keep their mind, their noise a little bit quieter on the swim. So this was a tip that was given to me when I first started doing like Olympic distance. I was at the start, and a woman there was like, what I do when I get like nervous, or even just right when I get in the water, is I start singing 100 bottles of beer on the wall. And it's honestly like, I know when I would be swimming, the second my mind would start going places where I was like, I don't know how to swim, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I would just start singing 100 bottles of beer on the wall. And eventually you get to like 96 bottles and you're like, you forgot what you were even giving yourself the negative talk about. So that for me was like a little distraction. But it's like, if you say something enough times, you believe it. And if you can just as easily say, I don't think I'm going to finish this race, I don't think I can do it, to flip the switch and say, I am a badass athlete, I know I can do this, right? So it's the power of positive self-talk can turn things around, and negative self-talk could really derail your performance. So
I love that. I mean, we are the programming of our environment.
mhm.
It seems like no way could that actually work, right? But it does. It really does. I mean, if you feel like you were just saying, like you're starting to feel you know anxiety in the water, tell yourself, I am safe. As
Mhm.
long as I do this, I am safe. Something that you've practiced in the water, right? As long as I get on my back, I am safe. As long as I breaststroke, I am safe.
Mhm.
Yeah, you bet you are.
Yeah.
You will, you will want to hear that from yourself.
Yes, yes, and even again, like, on the run, when you're feeling like if all you're thinking about is that, "Ugh, I'm not a strong runner. I'm not this is the hardest discipline for me. I always fall apart on the run." Like, if you're the more you say things like that, the more they become your belief, and it's like, you have to just even that, like, I am a strong runner. I chase people down on the run. This is where I come alive. Like, and it's funny when I was in Marbella, my friend Kathy and I were racing, and I felt like I did not take enough nutrition in on the bike, and I was really nervous on the run. And I saw my friend Kathy, and I'm a little bit stronger of a runner than her. And it was like when I caught up to her on the run, she was like, "This is where you like." She said something along the lines of like, "This is where you come alive. Go get them." And I was like, woof, like I that was one of those like you have to remember your pacing strategy. But I was like, damn, she's right. This is where I come alive. And it was like my whole mindset shifted from being like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this. This is gonna be a long 13 miles to all of a sudden I was like, damn right, this is my leg. Like. So it's powerful.
Love that. Bike for show, run for dough.
Yep.
There you go. Tip. This is race mistake number 9, and this is a big one. Not having a clear strategy. Like, why would you go in? Like, this is team no guessing, folks.
Hmm.
When you're doing a race, any distance, have a strategy for each. Think through it. Even like write it out, narrate it out, have something you can react to, talk it out, into your phone, and do voice to text into a notepad or note, and talk it through and reflect on it. Have an idea of what pace or what effort level, rate of perceived exertion, stroke rate, whatever you want to use, you're going to use for your swim. How are you going to, how are you going to pace the bike? What are those target powers on the run? What are those target paces? How are you building in? Is it the first third, second third, third strategy? Is it binary? First half is going to be this, second half is going to be that. Where is the nutrition happening? Have all of this out in a spreadsheet. I'm a nerd. I create a crazy hour by hour plan. What you are eating, what you are taking in terms of ounces of fluid, how much electrolyte, have a plan going into it so that you're not guessing and that you've rehearsed it. Like, that you've done this plan like 2 or 3 times. It's like, it's going to go fine. Your confidence level goes up so much.
Yeah, and I definitely don't have as fancy like spreadsheets and things that you have, but I always need to write things out. It's like I can't just think through it. I have to have things written out so I know, and I have my notes, bullets, and it's just you have to. It's the same thing as even like practicing transitions. It's like you have to have it all dialed in. So. All right, we've made it to the final number 10, which ties into a little bit what we already spoke about, but quitting mentally too early. So, not just the negative self talk, but literally, like most athletes, we still have more in us and we just stop accessing it. So, if you, I say this in my, like when I'm teaching spin, I always say this. I'm like ignore your mind, listen to your body, because a lot of times it's your mind saying that your body is done when really it's like I don't know, if all of a sudden a bear started chasing you, I'm sure you would dig deep and run your freaking heart out. But so it is always our minds give up a lot quicker. And I always like I'll cue to this too, where I'm like, listen, like if you feel like you've got to stop, just try to go one more minute, or just try to go to the next lamppost, or just give me 30 more seconds and then reassess, right? So it's like you have to just, if you feel like you need to stop, really check in. And is this that I'm just uncomfortable being uncomfortable? Or like, is there really red flags that you need to listen to? You also need to be dialed into the feedback that your body gives you. But the reality is that you don't want to be the athlete that looks back and goes, I know that was my mind and not my body.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, there you have it. There is your, we've got Execution, not fitness, determines race day success. Early discipline unlocks late performance, and every decision should protect your finish. We have a download for you. If you go to our website, GritToGreatnessEndurance.com, go to the free download page and you will find this. All you got to do is just submit your email and we will make sure that you get a copy of this thing, and it will be part of bulletproofing your race strategy for your very next race.
I love it. All right. Are you ready for the fun segment?
Are we going to do this or are we going to do that?
It's going to be a little bit of race day, this or that.
All right. I love it.
All right. So, like we said, it is time. It is race day, this or that, the game where we find out whether you're a calm, calculated racer or one minor inconvenience away from rethinking your entire life. So, play along with us. We're gonna be answering, and you guys play along. We're gonna give you two race day choices. You're gonna pick one, and you're gonna defend it. All right. So, I'll kick it off with number one. Start line style. Would you rather be 90 minutes early with everything perfectly organized, or 5 minutes early, slightly panicked, but somehow ready to go?
Oh my God. For me, this is a no brainer. My other phrase is there's no penalty for being early. So I will be there 90 minutes early with everything perfectly organized, maybe even a little earlier.
How early can we get here? I am with you. I am a 90 minutes early. I've raced two races with my friend Phil, and we raced to Haines City together and Eagle Man together. And I got to tell you, he always forgot something where he was having to go back. Like he forgot his helmet in his car, had to take the bus back. He forgot all of his gels at the house we were staying in Florida in Haines City. I was like, I didn't go back with him, but I'm like, you're going to give me a freaking panic attack, because he literally got back to transition both races, like right before they were closing. I was like, how are you doing this? This is making me so stressed out. So for me, I like to be there 90 minutes early. If you're my partner in crime on that race day and you're not able to be there 90 minutes early, you're alone.
That's right. I mean, I've seen, I volunteer a lot, and I've seen so many people that are, that are panicking, struggling to get out. The transition captain is kicking them out. They've got people hovering around. You don't need that kind of stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set your alarm, get there early. Don't underestimate how long it's going to take for things to happen. If there's a
Mhm.
shuttle involved, or, you've never done this race before, man, plan for the worst.
Yeah. So stressful.
All right. You ready for your this or that?
Yes.
Okay. Audience, play along here with Law. Here we go. Fueling choice. Would you rather have all of your favorite race nutrition, but it is just warm? I mean, it's warm. It's been sitting in the sun. Or have ice cold nutrition that you've never tried before?
I mean, I'm going to go warm nutrition that I know. I know that's gross, but I've had other gels and things in the past, not during races. Actually, no, one race I did have a gel but it was at mile like 11. So I knew I only had like 2 miles to go. But I just, I like my tried and true. And if it's warm, it's going to be warm.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I am with you. If I've never tried it before, I don't care how cold it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on, I mean, I guess it depends on how late in the race it is, but like,
It's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you're like in the last 30 minutes or something, I don't know.
yeah. All right, transition situation. Would you rather have the slowest transition in your age group but never forget anything, or have the fastest transition but realize halfway through the bike that your nutrition is still in transition?
As much as I hate to say this, because I go out of my way to like really have smoking fast transitions. So for me to say that I would rather have the slowest transition in my age group is like really painful for me. But I would rather do that than have something I really need nutrition wise on the bike.
Yeah, I'm with you. Agreed.
I mean, it kind of depends on the slowest transition. I mean, come on. I mean, if it's like 15 minutes and 30, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean,
within reason.
yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Here's your would you rather. Race day weather. Number 4, race day weather. Would you rather race in a steady rain for the entire event or unexpected heat that shows up halfway through?
So, like, can I ask a clarifying question?
Uh
Steady
huh.
rain, does it mean steady like rain?
All right. So, yeah, yeah, I hear you. I like this. I like the clarification.
Yeah,
If it is raining like a drizzly rain, let's just say it's a drizzly rain
I'll take the
for the
drizzly
entire
rain.
event.
I'll take the drizzly rain because that, like, if I know it's going to be that way, I already know I probably have all my hydration properly planned and I know what to expect. So I know that that's what it's going to be. Um, and I would then just be mindful of paint lines, stopping, all those things. But if it's like, I do okay in the heat, but again, if you're not prepared for it, that could totally like ruin your run as well too. So yeah. And I don't mind the
I
rain too much if it's like a little rain.
If it's a little rain, I agree with you. In fact, I love that for the run. Oh my gosh, please give me a light drizzle rain. I love that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, from my would you rather, I'm going to use the scenario of Ironman Cozumel. I was 2 miles into the run, maybe even maybe not even. And all of a sudden I looked down the road and I could not see past a certain point. I'm like, I mean, I should be able, I mean, that's just going toward the airport. I should be able to see. Why can't I see anything? Is like something wrong with my vision? Like what is going on? And then I realized, oh crap, that's a wall of water.
My God.
It was such a downpour that for the entire marathon, I kid you not, we were running like there's like road curb and it is a river. You were literally just running in water this
Yeah,
deep
that I don't want.
all it was horrible. Like I even changed my socks at like I had socks in special needs just because they were slightly drier and fresher than what I had on,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were soaked in a second. I mean,
No, yeah. See, that I would say I'd rather heat. If it was like rain that was like rain, wind, and like heavy, I'll take the heat. I don't do too bad in the heat. But if it's like if it's like a
yeah,
calm rain, definitely not your Cozumel rain. No,
yeah.
absolutely not. All right. You're up with mental game. Would you rather have a flawless race plan, but terrible self talk all day, or great confidence, but no real pacing or fueling plan?
Oh God, this is so hard. All right, I'm going to go with okay because I have done this a little bit. I probably have some race plan memory and fueling plan memory. So I'm going to say I would rather have my good self talk, feel confident, and really just try to like maybe not having like the most dialed in plan, but going by feel, knowing I've got some experience that's guiding my effort.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% confidence over the pacing or fueling plan because, like I said, mindset can totally override, like as long as I know that there's fuel somewhere to be had, and I like to believe my gut is somewhat strong. I'm with you. We
Yeah,
just did it. Mental game, man. Everything.
love it. All right, well, here you go. This or that, the mid race decision. Would you rather slow down for 2 minutes to reset and save your race or push through the rough patch and risk blowing up later?
This is going to be I'm going to go back to this, I'm sure, in a week where I'm going to say I'm going to slow down for 2 minutes to reset and save my race because it could be a long, long day if you blow up. Yeah,
Love it.
that is my final answer.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. All right. Finish line feels, last one, finish line choice. Would you rather finish knowing you paced perfectly but had a little left in the tank, or finish completely empty, knowing you gave everything, but may have overcooked it early?
I'm going to go with pace perfectly and had just a little bit left in the tank so that I am really finishing strong. I want to be able to have that reserve if there's another military age male coming up on me to be able to kick it into gear.
Yeah, I mean, I usually have a little left in the tank, and so I know that that's how I like to end. Like, I'm probably somebody that people look at and they go, "Well, she finished a little too fast." Like, where I'm, like I'm like sprinting down the freaking thing. At age group nationals, not last year, the year before, I sprinted, I think, to the end. And we all started together, so I must have been just, and I didn't even realize that this girl was in my age group. I think I beat her by like 2 seconds. I was like, she was probably looked at those results and was like, man. So I probably had a little bit too. I mean, I'm happy I had that little extra in the tank.
You bet, right? Because it came in handy, right?
Yeah, it came in handy. So yeah, I'm with you though. I'd like to pace it perfectly and have that, like, because it feels so good running fast through the finish line too. Like, it just feels good to be able to, like, I mean,
Yeah.
good-ish, we'll say.
Well, and listen, there's a lot of photos that are happening at the end of your 70.3 or Ironman, folks.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ways to come across that finish line. You can come across hobbling and barfing and all those things,
Hmm.
or you can come along with a big smile on your face, two arms pumped into the air because you're finished strong.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, folks, here's the thing. Race day is full of choices, this or that, and the best athletes are not always the fastest athletes on paper. They're the athletes who keep making smart decisions when the nerves hit, the weather changes, and the pace feels hard, or the plan needs a small tweak. So before your next race, know your answers before your race day arrives. Build this plan, practice the plan, and then trust yourself enough to execute it. Don't forget to come to our website and download our guide.
Yes. And also, part of your race rehearsal strategy and your racing strategy should include a little something from our show sponsor, right? So this episode is brought to you by Vespa Power Endurance Nutrition. Vespa helps you unlock steady, efficient energy, reduce dependency on constant fueling, perform stronger for longer. And I do have to say, I use it during my race rehearsals. I use it during my harder training sessions, and I absolutely have my Vespa Junior, my CV25, already ready to go for Lake Placid. So I'm excited to have that little in my back pocket. So you can get 15% off with code G2G15. Visit Vespa Power to learn more.
Yeah, you want to save hours in your race. Use Vespa.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Don't worry about everything else we just said. No, just kidding.
Folks, if you've got a question from today's episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you've got share it with a training partner, leave us a review. We would love to hear from you. Find your grit at Grit to Greatness Endurance. And if you are listening today and thinking, I want to be a part of something like this, you don't have to be coached again to be a part of our community. We've got great stories about real athletes balancing life, work, and training, supporting each other every step of the way. Come check us out. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Have a good support system. Let's build yours the right way here at Grit to Greatness Endurance. Hey, folks, if you've enjoyed this episode, please follow us and leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. It helps us reach more athletes just like you. Stay gritty, train smart, and keep chasing greatness. We will see you next week.